Hello, everyone. I don't know if you hear me well. If yes, please. Type yes in the chat. I hope the connection is good. I see so many friends here already sign up, so I'm really looking forward to this presentation. Since I'm still expecting a couple more people to sign up, we are going to. Perfect. Yes, the answer is yes. So the connection is good. So a couple more people are going to sign up and to connect for this webinar. So if you all agree, we are going to wait for like 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we're going to start with this webinar. Can't wait, and I'm really looking forward for this presentation. I see so many friends already here, so hi to everyone. I hope you guys are safe at your respective countries. Hope you are doing well, and I'm pretty confident you're gonna enjoy the presentation. I have prepared myself well, so I hope you're gonna enjoy. In the meantime, while we are waiting, feel free to type, something in the chat. Feel free to type your countries, where you're coming from. Feel free to. I'm interested to hear. Are you mostly tennis coaches? Are you mostly fitness coaches? So if possible, since we have still 1 minute to go, feel free to type in something. Thank you so much. I'm gonna try to prepare my presentation, and we're gonna start soon. Let me try to put on my presentation. I think it's ready. Do you see the share screen here? Please type yes if you see the screen on. Yes. Excellent. So good. Okay. So my screen is on, and if you guys agree, I would like to start with my presentation. So let's get started. As I said, first of all, I would like to thank you all for being here. I'm so excited to do the webinar for the first time. It's going to be the 30 minutes online split step class, and it's a free live webinar. And before I start with my presentation, I would like to thank you all for being interested in this topic, since I realized that this topic is really controversial, and it's really a hot topic in the world of tennis. So I'm really glad that I'm able to share this kind of a knowledge or my latest research with you guys here through this live webinar. Before I start with my presentation, I would just like to mention, how everything started, and I hope my great friends from US are here from the CoreSense, because I was initially initiated to think more and to work more on the split step through my connection with Gordon and the great crew from the CoreSense. It was 7-8 years ago. So since then, split step has been my professional, but also my research focus. So it's going to be mostly about the split step. I already see I have here the crowd coming, of course, from tennis, and I have so many tennis coaches, but also fitness coaches. And I think you're gonna benefit from some information that you're gonna hear today during my webinar. Okay, so since my time is very limited, I only have 30 minutes, and I'm gonna be respectful of your time. This is my kind of outline of my presentation. So basically, I have divided my presentation in 3 different parts. Firstly, I would like to walk you through the literature review. So the question here is, what do we know from the literature so far in regards with the split step? I'm gonna answer that question soon. The second part of my presentation is basically something that it's very important to understand to be able to follow some videos that I have prepared for you here for this webinar. And this is basically the second part is the theory behind the split step. So it's kind of a conceptual framework that work for the split step issue in tennis. And finally, my third part of my presentation is going to be the results of my latest research that we have conducted here in the lab at the Faculty of Kinesiology, University of Zagreb. And basically, we were interested in the differences in the split-step reaction time among the professional ATP players. So I'm going to present the results of our research, and the results are quite interesting. Okay, so let me start with some some introduction words. I'm just going to walk you through some basics of tennis. Since we are all coming from the tennis background, we are very familiar with those findings. But for example, here I would like to first of all to start with a sentence that the high-level tennis forces players to deal with the high time and space constraints. So let's just look for a moment the picture here. So on the return of the serve, you can see the returner here. For example, if the server is hitting the serve at 200 kilometers per hour, time available for action is less than half a second. So basically, in this situation, it's very clear that the player's reaction time must be reduced to a minimum, and the dynamic of his response must be maximal. We, all of us who are involved in tennis, we are always looking for some edges or some kind of extra time that we can all benefit on the tennis court, so we can move faster, so we can move more efficiently. And that's why I really believe that the split step is one of the solutions. I'm a big believer in the split step, and I think that the split step could give us potentially that extra edge, that extra time that could allow our player to move better on the tennis court. That's my deepest belief. What do we know so far? That's the question. I was preparing for this webinar, for the last couple of weeks, and I went through the literature, and basically what I found there is that we don't know so much about the split step issue. We have a couple of articles that has been studied and that has been published, but only few studies have involved an analysis of a split step. So we don't know much, but what we do know is that, first of all, that the high-level tennis players performing a simulated split step had shorter reaction and movement times than beginners. And we also do know that the males were quicker in the movement times than the females. To be able to understand the split step more, we have to look a little bit through the physiology. So the physiology would describe the split step motion as the stretch and shortening type of muscle action. So what is happening there is that the split step is placing the squat muscle into a stretch position. So that permits the storage of the energy and subsequent release of the energy. And that's the physiological reason why the players using the split step are able to start the movement faster through the stretch and shortening type of muscle action. But at the end, as I said, only few studies have involved an analysis of a split step timing. The timing here is the most important word, because the split step is all about the timing. So those researchers, they were interested in the time differences between the contact of a racket with a ball and the time of the initiation of the split step. So they were interested in the time between the contact and the initiation of the split step. But I think, and I'm gonna walk you through the next slides, that this is important to know, but there's something more important to answer when talking about the split step timing. But for me, the most important research, or the most important study that kind of describe why the split step is important in tennis is this one. The one that has been published by an amazing group of Japanese researchers, and they published this article in a very high impacted and very high quality journal, which is a journal of sports sciences. And they had very simple experiment. So you can see here the picture on the lower part of your screen. There is a participant standing barefoot on a 2 force platforms with the lights in front of him. This is typical left and right step and reach movement experiment or movement design. So the participant, he was instructed to take the lateral step and reach the target in the direction indicated by the lights. So he was able to move left and right to reach the target by the direction indicated by the lights. So the experiment was completely randomized. The two conditions were considered here in this experiment. First group didn't perform any split step, any vertical hop before reaching the lateral target. And the second group, they were doing the vertical hop, the vertical jump, in order to improve their lateral movement. What they found here is pretty interesting, and I think this is the answer why in tennis we are using the split step. Because you can guess here that the group doing the split step, they were much faster, they were significantly faster than the non-split group by around 100 milliseconds. Even though their response time was slower, so they were responding slower, 40 milliseconds slower than the non-split condition, but they were faster because it's pure physics. They were using the opposite force while moving side to side, while moving laterally. And this study clearly demonstrates that the split step increases the velocity while moving side to side. This article answers why the split step is so important in tennis. What is the split step? I mean, we are all coming from the tennis background, so there's no need to explain, deeply what's the split step, but it's basic vertical jump, both feet up, so it's a vertical hop that players tend to use before moving laterally or moving side to side. But in order to understand, how to perform the split step correctly, I think very important is to understand this concept or this slide, which is the theory behind the split step. At the beginning of my presentation, I was talking about the conceptual framework, and this is it. If you have to, to remember something from this presentation, I think this would be the slide that you have to remember. Because, when, doing a lot of presentations worldwide, and I'm lucky enough to travel the world and talk to the coaches and talk to the players. And what I realized, asking the coaches or players, when to perform the split step, I received so many diverse answers. And I think the correct answer, and I'm going to try to prove you that this, is that the player has to be at the top of the hop, when the opponent is having contact with the ball. Why? Because if he's or she at the top of the hop when the opponent is having the contact with the ball, then the player is able to read direction of the ball and he's able to land properly and move quicker. I think that's the ultimate goal. And the outcome of all this is that this motion, this correct motion, would give us an extra time while playing. And I think the ultimate goal on the tennis court is to move smooth and to have extra time so we are able to execute a correct shot. So remember this top of the hop sentence. So let's come back to the split step motion. So back to the theory of split step. What would be a proper split step? As we said, if the player is at the top of the hop when the opponent is having the contact with the ball, in this situation, he's able to read the direction. He's able to land on the opposite foot, as you can see here on this video. So there's a takeoff, there is a motion going to the backhand side, so the player is able to land on the opposite foot. He's able to use the impulse or the reaction force from the opposite side, and he's all able to accelerate to the side. This example is towards the backhand side. Why I'm showing this? Because I see many players, especially the young ones, doing the split step when they go up, they land down both feet, and then after a couple of moments, they execute the motion side to side, forehand or backhand side, but that's not the proper split step. Because if we are able to be at the top of the hop to realize where the ball is going, then we are able to land on the opposite foot, and we are able to execute the lateral motion in a correct way. So let's see what's happening at the top level sport. Here's a video from Vic Borgogno, and if you are more interested in his work, just feel free to check his videos online. And this is one video from the US Open final, Djokovic versus Nadal. So let's observe here what's happening at the top level of the game when the one player is having the contact. Where is the opposite player? So you can see here Djokovic doing his swing. He is going to hit the ball. So there is a contact now. And you see on the upper part of the screen, you see Nadal at the top of the hop. Now again, 0. It means, number 0 means that there's no late. There are no late. He's exactly at the top of the hop when the opponent is having the contact. Let's see what Djokovic is doing. So Nadal is swinging. He's going to hit the backhand. He's going to now have a contact. You see 0. You see 0. And if we keep going with this rally, and this was really long point, I think more than 20 shots per this point, you will see that those guys are doing unbelievable job in their split step reaction time. So you'll find Nadal in this high level of tennis at the final of a Grand Slam. He's always at the top of the hop when the opponent is having the contact, like here. Djokovic is doing it like 99.9% of time. So those guys are always at the top of the hop when the opponent is having the contact. It's unbelievable. For me, I would say this is a pure perfection, because to be able to execute, to initiate the motion always at the right time, it's unbelievable. It's extremely hard. And maybe now you think that everybody's doing this. Okay, this is the theory. This is, you know, what the top guys are doing. But let's take a look at another example. This is one of my ex-players playing the final of a grade 1 Osaka juniors. At that time, he was #1 junior in the world. And let's see, she's down there. She's the white player. So let's see what's happening at the contact. She's late. Her foot is still on the ground. Look at it. Look at here. So there's a contact. White player, both feet down. She's not able to react. Of course, it was an easy ball for the opponent, but she's not able to move. And let's take a look into a couple of next shots. She's going to be late for 3, 4 video frames, which is more than 100, close to 200 milliseconds, and she's not able to adjust for a good shot. Look at here, the right foot. It's on the floor. Now, 4 video frames. Now she's at the top of the hop, but she's not ready for this shot. Right foot on the floor, 3 video frames late. She's not ready to hit the ball correctly. Now, finally, she's up with the both feet up. But look here. The ball is coming to the middle, but she is left foot now on the ground. Now she's top of the hop, but is already late, and she's not ready for this shot. She's again on the floor. So, I mean, what we can see here is that this player, it's not following this theory that we were basically explaining before, a couple moments ago, where we are trying to say that the player should be at the top of the hop when the opponent is having the contact. Obviously, with the junior player, even she's at the top of the game, she's #1 in the world, it's not happening that way. And I see many, many examples, different levels, different ages, the same thing. Let's look at another example. Top WTA player. It's the Caroline Garcia. It's a red and white player. So she's at the top of the screen. She's hitting a strong forehand. Now it's a contact. You see, she's still on the ground, very late, 5 video frames late. Now she's going to execute unbelievable cross court. The opponent is going to be outside of the court playing very defensive shot like this one. But look at her position. So she's executing unbelievable shot, but because she's late a lot, 6 video frames. Even though she did a high quality shot before, she's not able to adjust for the next quality shot and basically win the point because she's so late on the split step initiation. So in this example, we found that she seems to be so locked into a beginning of her split step hop, like this picture here on the screen. Obviously, this is the return phase or return position, but that's exactly what's happening during her game when the opponent is having the ball contact instead of starting her split step much, much earlier. In other words, she needs to start some 5 to 6 video frames earlier to be able to execute a correct split step and to move well on the tennis court. With her, this is what's happening. The good news for her, but not only for her, for so many young players, is that they are very consistent with the timing. I mean, the timing is, late, so she's consistent with the late timing. It just needs to occur earlier. So they are able to use all the benefits of a proper split step. Here, at the end of my presentation, as I said, my third part, it's about one interesting research that we have conducted at our lab here at the University of Zagreb. Based on all this, what I have just said before, all these theories and all these analysis of top players, but not just top players, the junior players as well, we were particularly interested what's happening in between the two groups of players. So the sample here, you can see the left and the right sample, the left group and the right group. It's a sample of a professional ATP players. On one side, let's say on the left side of your screen, we can see the top 10 players at that moment, and that was the end of 2017. So we have top guys in the world. Federer, we have Nadal, we analyzed Zverev, Goffin, Wawrinka, Cilic, Thiem, Dimitrov, all the top guys at the end of top 10 guys at the end of 2017. And on the right-hand side, you have players who were ranked 101 to 110 at the ATP ranking list at the end of 2017. All great players like Janko Tipsarevic, Marco Cecchinato, Posipil, Taylor Fritz, Nikola Mahut, Baghdaris, so all top guys. So we were interested what's happening, what is the time difference between the split step body position comparing to the ideal top of the hop theory. So what's happening among those two groups during the ground strokes split step, during the return split step, and the split step after the serve. So after the serve, the first split step, preparing for the next shot after the serve, what's happening there? The results are pretty interesting. So let's analyze the first thing. Let's analyze the first variable. So the return split step. This is just the explanation. So you have Wawrinka serving. At the moment of a contact, what's happening with his opponent? Nadal on the upper corner of the screen. So that was the analysis that we have conducted for all 20 players. We analyzed so many hours of their split step, and let's see what's happening over there in the return of a split step. I mean, every time when I see this slide, I'm so amazed by those players, because let's take a look on the left side, the top 10 players. Look at the numbers around them. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That means that the difference between their body position in the split step during the return comparing to this ideal top of the hop is basically identical. They are 0 milliseconds late. So it means when you analyze those players, hours and hours of their returns, you will find that they are always at the top of the hop when initiating and doing the return split step. It's unbelievable. Look at the Nadal, look at the Wawrinka, look at the Dimitrov, look at the Federer, 0 milliseconds. So the average mean value is 0.24 milliseconds. That's basically nothing. When we analyze the top 101 and 110 on the ATP, you'll find that they're a little bit slower. So the difference between their position of the split step and the ideal is a little bit more than the top guys, but still, come on, 13 milliseconds is basically nothing. So the average value for the lower ranked players is among 10 milliseconds late to this top of the hop position. So it's basically nothing. But still, what we found here is that there are statistical significance between those two groups. That's interesting. So even if they are performing at a so good level, the split step and their timing is amazing, still there are significant differences between them. And there is another thing that I would like to mention here. And let's look the lower ranked players. Look at Baghdatis, Marcos Baghdatis, 0. Look at the Janko Tipsarevic, 4.40 milliseconds, nothing. Those guys, because of their injuries, 2017 at the end, they were lower ranked players, but we all know that they are so great players and they were ranked before top 10 players. I think both of them number 8. And from those numbers, you'll find them, top guys. They definitely belong to the top 10. Okay, so that's the split step on the return. What's happening during the ground strokes? So as you can hear here at the example, so now let's analyze the Stan Wawrinka. So the opponent, Nadal, is having the contact. Now we are interested what's happening with the guy here. Again, hours and hours of analysis. Let's see what the numbers are telling us here at the ground strokes split step. Now we will find a little bit more deviations, more variations in terms of the time difference between their body position during the ground strokes and the ideal position, which is top of the hop. But still, the numbers are so low that it's incredible, pure perfection. So you'll see on the left side, the top guys, the average value, 12 milliseconds, nothing. You see even guys like Zverev, he's 0 even here. Even though he's super tall and we consider him maybe not the best mover on the tennis court, but his split step timing, it's amazing. So return was 0, now during the ground strokes 0, but all of them having so good results. Again, lower ranked players, a little bit more deviations. We still found the statistical significance between the two groups, but again, I have to say the results here are amazing. If you take a look, again, the picture of Baghdatis, you'll find him 0, so he's no late at all. You'll see Tipsarevic, pretty low numbers that are more close to the top guys, and we all know their tennis potential and their tennis success. And finally, the third variable that we have analyzed is the variable, the split step after the serve. So again, let's take a look. Stan here. He is the white guy on the down part of your screen. So the opponent is having the contact. What's happening here? The results, again, very, very interesting, because now we are aware that the differences are much higher. So remember, the return was around 0. Then it was around 6 or 7, up to 10 milliseconds. Now it's much more, but still, it's about milliseconds, and they are, again, doing amazing job. Again, we have differences between those two groups, but it's interesting to maybe to try to answer the question why the late response is much higher after the serve than comparing to the return or ground strokes. It's evident that deviation is much higher here. I would guess that one of the reasons are that, during the serve, those guys are putting a lot of energy. The serves are going like more than 200 kilometers per hour. We all know the motion during the serve. So the player has to land a little bit inside of the court on one foot. Then there is a huge upper body flexion forward. So I guess that's one of the reasons why they need a little bit more time to get back to the ready position and then to execute the split step, which is the preparation for the next shot. Another reason maybe could be what we observed there is that some players tend to stare at the ball once they hit the ball. They look at the ball, where the ball is going, and then probably they lose a little bit of the timing, and that's why the numbers are a little bit higher here. But still, it's pretty good numbers comparing, of course, to the lower ranked players, especially the junior ones, etc. Okay, so based on my presentation, I would like to, just to express a couple of take-home messages. First one is definitely that the split step, of course, in connection with all other tennis-specific elements, presents an important factor in the tennis game. The second very important take-home message is that the rightly executed split step gives the player an extra time to perform an optimal stroke. I think that's very important, and finally, that's why we are doing the split step. At the 70% of all motions in tennis are initiated by the split step. And if the split step is performed in the correct way, in a proper way, it can give us a little extra time to perform an optimal stroke, and this is our goal, definitely. Our data, our research show that there are significant differences in the split step reaction time between higher and lower ranked professional ATP players, meaning that even though they are doing amazing job and their reaction is amazing on their split step, there are still differences between them. And they're all great players playing at the Grand Slam level, but there are still differences between them. And then just imagine how much difference we would notice if we compare the top guys with the younger players or the junior players. So I think all this clearly demonstrates that we have to create a wide range of specific tennis situations to develop reaction time, especially to develop our players' split step timing. I think the timing is a crucial word. If the junior players are just performing the split step without knowing when to perform the split step, I think they are all not going to benefit from their split step. Guys, I think my time is up. I would like to stop here, and I would like to be respectful of your time. So I would like to thank you for being here. I don't know how to express my words, and to thank you enough for listening my presentation and for listening something that has been my occupation for the last 7-8 years, both professional and scientific. So once again, thank you for listening. Feel free to ask any question you want. Feel free. Here's my email address. Feel free to ask if I can help somehow with the split step topic. I'm happy to do that. If you are willing to, I don't know, maybe I can help you with the analysis of your players' videos of a split step. So feel free to share anything you want. I'm really happy to help you. If we have a little bit more time, and if you are not rushed, I would like maybe to take a look into the Q&A section, maybe to answer a couple of questions, and I hope this could be a good thing to do and to finish the presentation. Okay, so one question here saying, so the split step is influenced by what factors? I think, first of all, it's a great question. As you can see from my presentation, the split step is a very simple motion, but the timing of a split step is very complex. So that's why I really think that there are so many factors that influence a correct kind of an initiation of a split step. So for me, there are two main factors that influence the split step performance. The first factors are, I would call them the time factors. So that's the rhythm, that's the timing, that's the anticipation, that's the speed and explosive power. All those components are very important to execute the split step on time. So the time factors. On the other side, I would call the second group of the factors, I would call them the spatial factors. So the court positioning, the movement patterns, how you hit the ball, how you move on the tennis court, court coverage. So all those factors that relies a lot on the time, but also on the spatial awareness. I hope this answers the question. And if you have a little bit more time, Okay, the second one is about saying that that I mentioned 70% of the time that the players are initiating the motion through the split step. So what's happening and why they are what's happening basically with the other 30% of the time. Well, I mean, it's not always possible to execute the split step because of, I would say, of those two factors: time constraints and the spatial constraints. Sometimes the games is so fast, so the players are not able to execute the split step on time. When they are moving forward, they are mostly not doing the split step. They are just trying to explode as fast as possible forward, because what we mentioned is that the split step is the initial movement mostly for the lateral steps and for the lateral direction. Sometimes they're on the wrong foot, so they are not able to execute the split step. So there are reasons why they are not always using the split step, but still 70% of the time is really huge amount of time. And that's why I think the proof that on the tennis court, both from the fitness perspective, but also from the tennis perspective, we have to work on this motion. Even though it's a simple motion, it's not going to happen just by itself. We have to work on it. And I see many comments here. Will it be possible maybe to show some examples? I mean, this is, as I said at the beginning, my first webinar, and I'm so emotional about this because I have a huge response, and almost 300 people signed up for this webinar. So it's a great start for me. And if you are interested to hear more, I mean, if we can do the next one with as a practical one, maybe we can do it on court, so I can give you some ideas how you can work on the split step, how you can work on the split step timing, how you can work on both those time and spatial factors on the tennis court. I would be happy to do that. No problem at all. Okay. I see that my time is pretty much up. I'm close to 40 minutes. As I said, again, I would like to be respectful of your time. I said 30 minutes. I already extended for a little bit more in 10 minutes longer. So again, I would love to hear your comments. I see so many questions and comments in the chat and the Q&A. Definitely, I'm going to try to answer them all. No worries. I'm going to analyze this and I'm going to answer them. And again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and hope you heard something that could help your everyday practice. Again, thank you very much. We'll definitely see you soon. Take care, stay safe, and we're going to catch up soon. Thanks a lot.